Yo, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over the new Fnatic Focus 3 Max, my thoughts and opinions around Fnatic's take on modern mousepads. And before we get this video started, we just hit 3K. Thank you, everyone. If you're not subscribed, go hit the subscribe button, bell notification to catch all notifications for my newest videos. And yeah, let's get this video started. I just wanted to start by saying that Fnatic did send this mousepad out. That doesn't at all affect my opinion of this product, and as you know, I try to be as unbiased and honest when covering anything. So first I want to start by just talking about the differences between the original Focus and the Focus 3. The original Focus was a fairly budget control pad with a really weird form factor of like 500 by 4 or 500 by 350. It was a really weird sizing. So the main difference between the Focus and the Focus 3 and the Focus 3 Max is pretty much everything. It uses the standard 500 by 500 sizing. It uses a pour-on 6mm base with a stamped bottom with a Fnatic logo rather than a 3mm rubber base with ugly stitched edges. And they also made it orange, Fnatic orange. It's kind of their thing. But now going on to the pad itself, like I said, it's 500 by 500. It's a standard size for an XL mouse pad. I'm personally not a big fan of the sizing, but with the Focus 3, I've just come to enjoy having my arm on the mouse pad. It's still not my personal favorite, but it works. Going on to the surface, it is a very smooth surface. I'd say it's a little bit smoother than a Saturn Pro, but I feel like that's a really nice feeling to the arm. It feels really nice with sleeves as well. Going on to the base, I did find this base being a bit problematic. It's using a stamped pour-on backing with a Fnatic logo on it, but it just doesn't stay in one spot. But it's always the thing with pour-on base pads. You need to put a little bit of moisture on the desk when they're not sticking, and then it sticks completely fine. But the actual pour-on itself, I believe, is so thick that you can't put enough pressure on the pad to really glue it to your desk. So I did have a lot of issues with the mouse pad moving. While probably not in use, it moves a lot when I'm not gaming, but when I'm gaming, it is firmly in spot. But I did have a lot of issues with it being so easy to move. Next, we're gonna go on to the stitching. The stitching is using a under the surface stitching, very similar to Artisan. It is a bit thicker. It is actually under the surface, really nice. And I didn't feel the stitching at all while using the mouse pad. And then now let's go into the glide of the mouse pad. The mouse pad I'm using right now, the Yanji dots on the Z1 Pro by Zowie. And the mouse pad gives me a pretty quick but controlled glide experience. I would explain it having a very low static friction and a high dynamic friction where it takes nothing to get the mouse moving. I would say similar to a Raiden when it comes to the static friction. It's very low, but your dynamic friction is pushing something like a 0. And I would say this is ever so slightly quicker than a 0 with a very smooth texture when using the mouse pad. I just find it very nice to use in a large variety of games, especially with quicker skates like the Yanzi dots or these Tiger Ice dots. I really did enjoy using these. So now we're going to go into the comparisons. We're going to compare this mouse pad to all of the popular options alongside its original form. So we're going to start with the Focus 3. The Focus 3 feels very similar to the Focus 3 Max. The real only difference between two mouse pads is that the Focus 3 Max is a little bit slower dynamically and also has all the features I mentioned earlier. But it plays very similarly to the Focus 3. So if you already have a Focus 3, then the Focus 3 Max will be very similar with a lot of the upgrades you might be looking for. Next, we're going to go on to what I would say is the probably closest to the Focus 3 Max. This is the standard Saturn. This is the standard with the Japanese rubber foam, but it plays very quick with a low static friction, similar to the Focus 3 Max. And when using these two mouse pads side to side, I would say the Saturn feels a little bit quicker, but still on the controlled side. And the Focus 3 Max has a little bit more controlled, but the static friction feels very similar between the two. This is the AimeLabs GameSense Radar. This is probably a very recognized option. The Radar is a really popular control mouse pad, and dynamically it is slower, statically it is slower. So if you're looking between the two mouse pads, the Focus 3 Max is going to be a little bit quicker than your GameSense Radar. And you also lose a lot of the cool art styles because GameSense does a lot of art on their pads. But if you're looking at getting the Focus 3 Max as an upgrade, it will be definitely quicker, but it will be a lot better of an experience. Next, we're going to go to its pretty much direct rival. The Artisan Zero is going to be a lot slower dynamically. The Focus 3 Max feels just a little bit quicker than the Zero, but the static friction is just as low. The Zero, like I said in my Artisan buying guide, The Zero has a low static friction, high dynamic, so it makes it really good for easy micro adjustments while having still good control for tracking based games. The Focus 3 Max gives you a little bit more dynamics in just that. So if you're looking at getting a Focus 3 Max over your Zero, you are going to be getting a thicker pad, but you're also going to be getting a very similar playing experience with a little bit more quickness, but nothing as close to an O2 or even SU-based Control Plus. So here we're going to go on to the InfinityMice Infinite Control V2. The V2 was kind of my least favorite mouse pad ever because they killed the V1 Surface. But it is still a really good high quality control pad that I can still recommend to this day. But you are getting a lot more static and dynamic friction. The Focus 3 just feels quicker overall. Like I said, very similar to a Zero. But when sitting here comparing the two side by side, the Infinite Control is just so much more muddier, and I can totally feel this getting tiring for some players after a while. For the Focus 3 Max having a lot more consistent, quicker, but still as controlled glide. I am so sorry, everyone, for how dirty my Saturn Pro is if you can't see it. This is the Saturn Pro 2023. This is the last year's model. They did refresh it, but it's just the 2024 version. There's no difference at all. They just got stock. But the Saturn Pro 2023 is slower dynamically. It is a very similar surface texture to the Focus 3 Max. The Saturn Pro just feels a little bit more texture. The Focus 3 is a lot more smooth. The main difference between these mouse pads, again, is going to be that 6mm, but dynamically, also the Focus 3 is relatively just, it's like ever so slightly quicker, but it is nowhere near as controlled as something like the Infinity Controlled. But dynamically, it does feel very similar. I would say the Focus 3 Max is ever so slightly quicker with a little bit more static friction. The Saturn Pro is really slow. And then finally, we're going to compare it to the mouse pad that I personally believe is like the closest competitor surface-wise to the Focus 3 Max. The Type99 feels almost one-to-one to the Focus 3 Max when it comes to the surface feel. It's really smooth and it feels really nice. But other than that, the Type99 is slower, very high dynamic, very high static. This mouse pad is like dragging your mouse through mud. The Focus 3 Max is just a lot quicker and a much more pleasurable playing experience for someone in a game like Overwatch or Call of Duty where you want really quick micro adjustments. You don't want to have to become Sisyphus to make a micro correction in your game. So who should I think buy this mouse pad? Anyone looking for a mouse pad that's pretty much a smooth Zero with a little bit more dynamic friction. I know all the slide tests you've seen in the video show the pads being faster, but it was just a miscalculation from me and I already filmed it. But yeah, if you're looking for something similar to a Zero but smooth like a Saturn Pro, then the Focus 3 Max would be like the perfect mouse pad. So that should be it for this video. I do have a couple more buying guides coming up because I really want to help people make their correct decisions when they're buying stuff. But thank you for watching this video. Like if you just subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you guys in the next one.